Well, I'm feared because I'm having to follow Adele and Jeannie from Aberdeen. Now, was that not just fantastic poetry? Was that not just amazing? These women that we meet at these events are just stunningly brave and so talented. It's just wonderful. Anyway, the last time I was here at this lovely statue of Mary Barber, I'm ashamed to admit, was when Nicola Sturgeon, Hamza Yusuf, and Mary Black were here supporting WASPy women. Now, I'm one of these 1950s WASPy women, so I was quite pleased that they'd actually stood up and spoken for us. God, how wrong was I? I even have videos of them speaking and pictures of Hamza with his wee girl and stuff at the time. What on earth happened? How did we get to where we are now? I just don't understand that. But the thing that I want to talk to about with you today is the conversion therapy bill. Because Hamza announced this year, not long after he was put into the role of First Minister, that he would actually take that bill forward and that it would be before the end of this year. Now, interestingly, it wasn't mentioned in his action speech. And I think that's one of the things that's really bad about all of this, is that it's all done very secretly, under the counter, if you like, so that nobody really knows what's going on. And it's only when you actually hear that they're debating the bill and it's too late to actually do anything about it. So what does it mean, conversion therapy? I would imagine that most of us think that it's things like the guy who developed the Enigma thing, being Turing, thank you. Is that's the other thing about being a 1950s woman. Your words don't always come out right. So you would imagine giving him Lupron or something like that because he was gay is conversion therapy. ECT, even Downton Abbey had a spell of the butler getting ECT because he was gay. Now that is terrible. That is awful. Nobody would want to seek therapy like that for anyone. It's absolutely brutal and not what we would want. But same-sex attraction is different from gender identity. And this bill, what it intends to do is mix the two up. It doesn't actually give you a definition of what same-sex attraction is, or it doesn't give you a definition of what gender identity is. It doesn't actually give you any it's not actually the bill. What it's based on is guidance. So I must correct myself on that. It's based on guidance that a group of experts have got together with the Scottish Government and produced this paper. And this paper is what the bill is expected to be developed on the back of. Now, this paper gives no examples of what they mean by conversion therapy. They don't actually tell us what conversion therapy practices are happening in Scotland, and they don't actually have any evidence base whatsoever. The group of experts are people with lived experience. Now, lived experience is a really important thing to inform policy and debate and, moving forward in terms of, society and our expectations of how people are treated. But you don't just have only lived experience people. You would expect there would be something like, social work, education, mental health experts. You would expect that there would be teachers involved in it. No, there's been none of that. There has been no professional input into this bill whatsoever, into this paper whatsoever. And the other really important thing about it is that it's that's going to take it forward. So if you don't have a voice in something where you might be critical, or you might want to be analytical, or you might want to say, where's your evidence? They're not there. These people aren't there giving that. And then what happens, of course, is it's presented as, this is what we want. This is, if you speak to your MSPs, they will tell you that they do as well. But there is also, really importantly, no detransitioners' voices in this whatsoever. And we know from the investigation into the Tavistock Clinic and Hannah Barnes' book, Time to Think, that the majority of young people who get referred to these services have got psychological trauma that they're dealing with. They might have been abused, they might have been bullied, they might have been have autism, ADHD, and if you're not allowed to talk to a young person who is struggling with their identity and who they are at a really important point in their life, then you're not actually giving them a good service, because you can't actually understand what it is that's actually going on for these young people. The other thing is about it is that, and actually even more importantly, is that any person who is wanting to offer counselling services where they want to discuss any psychological trauma that somebody having difficulties with their gender might be experiencing, then no, you can't do that, because what we have to do is affirm. If someone says they're trans, then they're trans. If a girl says she's a boy, she's a boy. If a boy says boy says he's a girl, then he's a girl. And of course, what it also then means is that parents who are also struggling with that, and there are many parents who have been confused by what messages their young children are getting in schools, because the stuff that's going on in schools is awful. And so what you're also not getting then is, somebody clapped there, and that actually really kind of put me off what I was going to say, and I'm going to have to quickly think what it was that I was going to say, is that a professional wanting to do good psychological therapy and support with a young person is going to be a criminal. They're not going to be able to do it if they do it. And equally, parents are at risk of having their children removed if they don't agree with the affirmative policy. And, your rights as parents in terms of parental responsibilities can be taken away. And so it's really important for all these things, I think, that we actually get involved now before it becomes debated in the chamber, and you go and see your MSP and speak to them, help them to understand. We had a meeting, some of our members had a meeting with Tess White this week, and what she was clearly saying to us was, although we know the big picture of things, we don't often know the detail, and it's our responsibility, I think, to give them the detail that they need. So if you're writing to them, write your own letters. It doesn't need to be many words. It just needs to be words that are your words. Don't use templates. They don't like them. They see them as noise. Use templates if you like as a thing to help, but actually just, your own words are what is important. Go and see them. If they have free surgeries, go and see them, speak to them, and try and get appointments. I mean, my MSP has blocked me because he thinks I'm a criminal, but hey-ho. So, and it's been in the papers as well that he thinks I'm a smiling assassin or something like that. But anyway, that's a whole different story that I don't want to talk about. But anyway, so really, that's my message for today. And I know it's a serious one, but it's really, really important that we start to think about trying to get on the front foot rather than the back foot, as we were with the GRR bill. That's not gone away either, I know that, but we've got a bit of a reprieve to focus on some other things. Thank you very much for listening to me.